Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sunbelt Conference Football Media Teleconference. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. We are now joined with Shawn, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, big win for our program on national TV versus a very good Ark State football team. And anytime you can rush the ball for over 300 yards, you have a chance to win. I think our offense came out and played with rhythm, and we executed, and we had some guys step up at receiver to make some plays for us. And on defense, our guys played a lot of emotion, enthusiasm, and I thought we held those guys 73 yards rushing, and we had really good tackling, and that's something I'm very proud of. Anytime you don't play in 25 days, that's always a good sign. But with all that said, we have plenty to improve on, and as we go to Monroe this week, to be 1-0.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, it's *1 to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Could you, your team twice during the game when Arkansas State scored to make it 7-7, and then when they had the first two scores in the third quarter to make it a two-score game again, both times your team had big plays, quick drives. How important was that?
Very important, and we knew that we weren't going to stop Arkansas State from scoring. Again, I think they have a really good football team, and Coach does a very good job down there. But we know we had to come answer. It was going to be one of those games that we had to come out and match them score for score. And we were fortunate to hold on defense, and our offense executed.
You going in, I'm sure you had prepared your team for knowing that Arkansas State does some not trick plays, deception-type plays. It seems like y'all were able to handle those very easily.
Yeah, well, that's something my defensive staff did a great job with, and Coach Anderson, that's his style of offense sometimes is to put you in predicaments. Some things we do here as well. And we practice those trick plays and practice the fake punts, and they do an unbelievable job on special teams. I think Coach Haynes, our special teams coordinator, went back three or 4 years and looked at all the fakes, and we practiced that a bunch this week.
With ULM struggling so far this year, is there any fear of a letdown after playing, solid game against a good team in Arkansas State?
No, I don't think so. We kind of said we play up to our expectations here, and Coach Viator's got a great program, and we can go back a few years ago. I went down there and it was I think it was 58-55. That was a shootout. So I know they'll be ready to play, and it should be a great game on ESPNU.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today. Thank you. Thank you. If everyone can stand by, we're going to place everyone on a brief hold. We'll be back with Jamey Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina, here at 10:37 Central Time. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Jamey Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes. Proud of our effort this past Saturday. It was a tough football game, 4-quarter game, and we were fortunate enough to pull it out there in the fourth quarter. Thought our backup quarterback came in and played well and helped us continue to find a way to win, but our defense was really the story of the day. They did a great job of containing Georgia Southern's run game there and really held them under their average for rushing. So I was proud of that. Just proud of the way they played and allowing us to work through some things offensively. So we got to turn our attention to our next opponent, Georgia State. They're tremendous on offense and very opportunistic on defense. So we got a big challenge this week as we go on the road, and one that we're going to have to be ready for.
All right, thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Chris Vanini with The Athletic. Please go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Jamey, I know you guys have had some eventful locker room celebrations after wins, but that WWE event afterward was maybe the most intricate. Where did that come from?
Well, each week is a coaches championship. So before the season, I assign them what we're playing for that week. It's our trophy. It's just for us. It's not anything else. It's a trophy they want to come up with. And Coach Korn, Willie Korn's our offensive coordinator, so he had that week, and he loves wrestling. And so he sort of had a theme with that, and now I don't know how we ended up with all that stuff in the locker room. I just knew what the theme was, so to speak. That was a little bit more than I thought it was going, but him and the strength coaches came up with something like that. So that's where it came from. I guess they were watching a lot of YouTube videos from the past to figure out all that. They must have had to act it out during the week at some point.
And what was your reaction when you saw it?
You know what? I try to let our guys have fun, and again, it's more for us. It's not against, we're not trying to be disrespectful to the opponent. It's more for our guys in there. And it was pretty over the top, but from that standpoint, but it's hard to win, and especially in 2020 with everything going on, not nothing to play. You want your guys to enjoy it, and our players have, and our coaches, obviously have tried to make what we're playing for that week mean something, and they've done a good job of that. So I'm glad they, enjoyed that win.
Appreciate it, Jamey.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Chris. Our next questions come from Gene Spackoff with the Charleston Post and Courier. Please go ahead, Gene.
Jamey, congratulations with the way everything's been going so far. I know that you don't want your guys looking too far ahead, but how much fun is this top 25 thing? And what about, like, for your fans and for recruiting, just to be in the talk of possibly a New Year's Six bowl game?
Well, that's way down the line. So, Gene, it's good to hear from you. Two, it's awesome for our fans, and really just our university in general to have the attention that comes with being in the top 25. I mean, as a head coach, I'm realistic. I know it's a unique year, but I'm thankful we're in it because it's brought a lot of positive attention on our university, our program, and what, Coastal's trying to do. Recruiting-wise, it's been huge. As far as where there's a lot of doors that you've been trying to get into and, you couldn't get in them, and now some of those doors are open up. So I really think it's going to pay dividends for us down the line, especially as you get into the 22 class and some of those. But no talk from us on a New Year's Day. We know we got our hands full in the Sun Belt. So, but we're going to enjoy, while we're in the top 25 while we can, because I know that's not something that comes around all the time at our level of G5.
Jamey, what did you have for breakfast this morning, and is the food tasting any better for you these days?
Well, I'll tell you this, Gene. I'm actually, because usually during the season I put on a lot of weight, I'm actually in intermittent fasting right now. So I'm not eating yet, so I wait till noon. But it's going to be a very good lunch, I can tell you that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gene. Our next questions come from Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. I guess just how does the offense and the play calling change if you have Fred in there as opposed to Grayson, and Grayson in there as opposed to Fred?
Well, you try to do with your quarterback what they're comfortable with, what they're best at. They all, each quarterback's got something different, a little unique to what they can do, can't do maybe. And so you got to try to fit what you want to do into what they can do best. And so there's things that you might like from a scheme advantage that maybe that's not their best attribute. And so you got to try to find things within what that quarterback's specifically good at. So it changes some. You have your things that you like to run no matter what, but you got to make sure your quarterback can execute, the plays that you like. And so it does change based off of who's in there and some of the things that you want to do, not necessarily from a overall, hey, we're just changing completely, but certain things that you like, maybe that quarterback's not as comfortable with, so you got to go to something else.
I mean, is there anything in particular or specific about the strengths or weaknesses of either guy that, define what you do with the play calling?
I just think, how they handle maybe certain pass concepts or maybe how they handle, different run game concepts. Maybe one's a little bit better, certain runs. And so maybe one's not as good at it. So you try to, hey, we're going to avoid this with quarterback X, but hey, with this quarterback, he can do this. So we're going to have that in the game plan. So it's based off what their strengths are from a run standpoint and how they handle some of those things. And so it does change, from that a little bit.
All right, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan.
All right, thank you, Alan. Our next questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. When did you know that Grayson would not be playing, and what's his status going forward?
He got banged up, in the Louisiana game, and we prepared all week that he wouldn't be there. We thought on Thursday of the game week that he'd be able to practice basically have a full practice and be ready to go. He wasn't able to practice full. We gave it to Saturday warm-ups to see how he was feeling, and he just still wasn't there. His recovery's not gone as we thought it would. So, this week right now we're anticipating him not being with us again. So, unless he, his injury does heal, more so than it has up to this point. So, but that's when we were hoping Thursday he'd still play, and then it didn't happen, and then we gave it to game day a little bit, and just nothing there. So, and hopefully he'll be back, but we're not counting on it right now.
What do you see out of this Georgia State team that you're going to have to go and play on the road?
Well, I think two things. One, they play extremely hard. They play with an edge. They're very opportunistic on defense. They play hard. They fly to the ball, so they cause you problems there. And then offensively, you got to sort of pick your poison. They can run the ball. I think they're probably first or second in the league in rushing, high in the country with rushing the ball, but their quarterback's dynamic, and then they can make some plays. So they're very good offensive, probably the best offensive team we've seen all year long. And so they can score points, but they also can take it away from you defensively. And so we'll have to play a lot better than we did this past week on offense, because our defense is not going to be able to hold them down the way I think they did the previous week. So that's going to be the biggest challenge for us, is we're going to have to score points, because Georgia State's going to.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and apologies that we weren't able to get to everyone there today. We just ran out of time. We are now joined with Steve Campbell, the head coach of South Alabama. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue for Coach Campbell. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yep. Good morning. Very pleased with the way the guys played this past week against good Louisiana Monroe football team. Really liked the way that we finished. I thought we had a lot of guys step up and make plays, and we're definitely going to have to do that this week, going on the road against a very athletic, explosive Georgia Southern football team.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Dan.
Do you think your team has sort of found itself these last couple of weeks after y'all had, some tough things go against you early? You had the Tulane game slipped away, and then just, I know you said y'all didn't play very well against UAB. Have y'all found something that you maybe thought weren't sure was there, or something that has, showed up that you were figuring to be there all along?
Yeah, I think so. I think we played the last couple of weeks the way that we opened up the season against Southern Miss, and and that I thought we started the season fast and thought we played hard and executed well, and then we had some the Tulane, I thought we played really well for 3 quarters, and then kind of we had a guy, I don't want to make excuses or anything, but we didn't hold on and finish the game the way that we needed to. And then, we didn't play well against UAB for whatever reason, whether it be the hurricane or COVID issues or whatever. We got to overcome that. And anyway, after the reset, we were able to get back on track against a good Texas State team. And then, we had another really good week of practice and handled everything well and went out and played well against Monroe. With this football team, we've got to, we'll have a chance each and every week out. If we have a great week of practice, we do the things that we need to do to prepare, and then we go out and play the way that the guys played this past week. we've got a chance to have a really good football team. So I think they're understanding that, and I think they know that if we'll play the way we're capable of playing and all of that we'll have a chance, each and every week out. Now, big challenge this week, going on a short week against a very explosive Georgia Southern team that, with Shawn and Kennedy and that stable of backs, they can all fly. They're all, threats to hit a home run, each time at the plate. So, and then defensively, they've got a lot of team speed, very active defensively. One of the best groups of linebackers that we've definitely seen this year. So, we've got a big challenge in front of us, but we're excited about playing.
Can you talk a little bit about the connection that Desmond Trotter and Kawan Baker sort of have established? I mean, he only completes 8 passes, but 6 of them go to Baker, and it's for like 150-something yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. It was kind of a weird game, the way that the game played out, especially early. I mean, Monroe went on a long drive and took it all the way, down deep into our red zone, and then we got the pick 6, and then we kicked off again, and they got a little bit going. So really, second time we had the ball, there was like 3 or 4 minutes left in the first quarter, and I'm going, geez, this thing done. This game is flying by. So, excuse me. I think they've got a really good connection there. During the summer, they spent a lot of time together. Desmond did with all of the receivers, and KB's been a good player for us for ever since I've been here. And those two have a really good connection. You've got Tolbert on the other side and Jalen Wayne. So we've got 3 guys that have. I know Tolbert's had some 100-yard games and has really played well, and Jalen Wayne has played really well, to help complement KB. But KB is Kawan Baker's a guy that, at any point in time, if we get him the football, he's got a chance to do some special things with it, and he did that again this past week, and they were playing press man, and he did a good job of going and getting it, and Desmond did a good job of getting him the ball.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan. And we got time for one more here with Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations.
Hey, Daniel.
I wanted to ask you about how you saw the defense play today, including with pick 6, and how you see the defense going up against the Georgia Southern offense, which has just been running all over the conference.
Yeah, no doubt. Was really proud of the way that the defense played. I mean, they got everything started for us. Devin Rocket, huge play. We had been a little bit in a turnover slump, definitely an interception slump, and we said that whenever one came, that it was going to be a big one, and there were none bigger than that. I mean, they had a little drive going, and we're deep in our red zone, and when we got a hand on the ball, and Rocket did a great job of securing interception, and then took it back 90 yards, to the house. So that was a huge play for us. Defensively, they stepped up all night, and we had a couple of big conversion stops. I thought that that they won the battle of third downs and were able to get off the field. This is a couple of weeks in a row that we've held the opponent to under 100 yards rushing, which is huge. Normally you've got a really good chance to win the football game when you can keep them from rushing for over 100 yards. And, now this week that's the challenge because, it's tough. Georgia Southern, they're used to rushing for well over 3 against folks. So we've got, what are they averaging? Something like 250 a game. So, our rush defense is definitely, we need to prepare and do a tremendous job of tackling because they've got big, strong backs that can fly. And, Shawn not only can run the football, but to me, it looks like he's really throwing the ball, and he's, he's doing a great job of executing that whole offense.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We're now joined with Jake Spavital, the head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah. Coming off of a trip to BYU up in Provo, great experience for our kids and our program. To play a top 10 national ranked team on national TV versus a quarterback that has some Heisman hype, and it was a great experience for us. We went out there and had to take a shot at him and do a lot of different unique things. Again, our kids are playing with effort. They're playing hard. We were just a little outmatched in this game, and I give them credit. It's a really good football team that we played, but it was a great experience for us. A lot of learning experiences as well, but I think our kids are excited to get back home. We've been on a 5-game road trip, 5-game road streak, which has been difficult, but it's been fun. It has, and a lot of ups and downs in those 5 weeks, and now we have an opportunity to host Louisiana, who is playing at an extremely high level right now, and in front of our home crowd on national TV again. So again, another great opportunity, and looking forward to be back at home in Jim Wacker Stadium. So, questions?
Thank you, Coach. First questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. Now that you've had a chance to go back and look at it, what did you come away from with Saturday night? Things that your team you thought maybe did well that might have gotten overlooked since you were going up against, maybe the most explosive offense in the country.
Yeah, they're really good, and the message that I told our team, that's something that we want to be like in the future. We're such a young team right now, and they're such an experienced team. And you look at where BYU was at 2017, they went 4-7, and then they had 2 7-6 seasons, which is not living up to the hype of BYU football. And they're putting it all together, this year. And they're 6-0 and top 10 in the country, and a quarterback that's up for the Heisman. So it was a great experience for us. We knew going into this game it was going to be difficult. We tried to, the goal was try to keep that offense off the field, but their defense doesn't get the credit that they deserve because that's a very talented defense. So I don't know if you got to see much of the game, but we threw all sorts of different unique formations at them. We played with a majority of our tackles out at receiver the entire game because they're so talented up front. But our kids, we took our shot at them. We did, and they competed all the way to the end. A lot of learning experiences. They faked the punt on us. We got to be ready for that. There's a couple of mistakes, here and there that we need to correct and move forward with. But for the most part, they're playing with the effort, which I'm always pleased with right now. But again, a great experience for us, and I think this will pay dividends for us in the future, playing these quality opponents at such an early time for us.
Where did the splitting the tackles and tight ends, out? Did that come from something, or is that something y'all had done at any point before? And is it something you'll look at and doing some more in the future?
We thought that it would just give us the best chance. You look at their interior defensive line. They're very talented. Their nose guard is probably one of the top nose guards in the country, a high draft pick probably, and we felt like it'd just give us an advantage if we could spread them out across the field. Now Mike Leach did that a lot when he was at Texas Tech, and that's where it started. It's called the ninja formation, and we've kind of sprinkled it in occasionally throughout the course of every single year. You probably put it out there for 1 or 2 plays out of the year, but we were out there for probably about 20 plays of it versus BYU. So something that we'll always have in our pocket in case we need it, in case we feel if we're extremely outmatched up front. But it is a unique set, and just talking with Kalani, the head coach at BYU, he said we had him kind of moving around, had to base things up, but we had nothing to lose in that game, so why not?
You talked about the 5 straight road games, and you said it was fun, but I know it also probably had its own share of challenges, especially this year.
Yeah, it did. They all started off with the ULM game, which was the bus ride out there, and then coming back, and then we were playing a bunch of night games and getting back early in the morning. So you had to move your structure of your practices around and how you did things. We landed at really like 6 a.m. and we started a stretch recovery routine right when we got there, and then we sent the kids home and let them sleep the rest of the day. So, a lot of ups and downs, but it's like I said before, we got an opportunity to actually play this year, and we need to play as much football as we possibly can. And you got to throw in a Boston College trip and a BYU trip in the mix of it, which was it was very great for our program and a lot of experience that is going to be gained from it.
You've seen Louisiana before. One quick more question. What do you see is there anything different that you see this year that maybe you haven't seen much of in the past from them?
I just think that, everybody's, taking their shot and they're finding a way to win. You look at all the games, the Georgia State's in overtime and Georgia Southern is at the end of the game, and then UAB, they find a way to win, and Iowa State's a close game. They're finding ways to win in all of these close games. It just shows you that they're an experienced, really good football team. That's something that, where we're not. We've been in a lot of close games, and we haven't gotten over that hump on finding ways to win. And Louisiana, they're consistent in what they do. They believe in what Coach Napier is preaching to them, and they go out there and they never hesitate and they never blink. They find a way to finish and win games.
Appreciate it, Coach.
I appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Dan. I got time for one more with Tim Buckley with the Daily Advertiser. Please go ahead, Tim.
Morning, Coach. Tim Buckley in Lafayette. I'll make it quick. Dan mentioned different. What on film do you notice different specifically about what the quarterback Levi Lewis is doing, whether it's more use of his feet or whatever the case may be, and what are the general concerns for you going against their offense?
Yeah, you talk about Levi, I feel like he's becoming a better pocket thrower. Last year he was always utilizing his feet, and he's doing the same. And it's very similar to what Cliff Kingsbury's using with Kyler Murray on how you can utilize that skill set. But at the same time, he's doing a great job in the pocket. And again, it's the second year with Coach Napier in that system and how he's doing it, and he's just doing great stuff with it. He's just more comfortable every single time that he gets out there. Obviously, he's now the third leading touchdown thrower in school history, which shows that he's got a great feel of what he's doing. You talk about their defense. I'm sitting there watching tape on them now. There's not very many holes in this defense. I think they're very active. I think they're very good up front. And they make it hard on you. There's not much air out there on the defense to take advantage of. And, what they do is they create a lot of one-on-one, matchups. And for us to be successful, we're going to have to win them. And we're going to have to consistently win every single rep with one-on-ones for us to have a chance at them. So, very talented team. Obviously, they're worthy enough of getting those top 25 votes. But it's going to be a great challenge, and I think our kids are excited to be back at home and on Halloween on national TV to face them.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Coach, for your time today. We do appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We are now joined with Chad Lunsford, the head coach of Georgia Southern. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, no problem. Coming off a tough one, we went over to Coastal Carolina and, got to give a lot of credit to Coach Chadwell and his team. They played really hard and really wanted to win that ball game. And we had our chances, 14-14 going into the fourth quarter. Did not play particularly well on offense other than two busts by our defense. I thought our defense played very well. And then special teams, I thought we played very well other than giving up a punt return. But we had opportunity going in the fourth quarter, could not finish, and we got work to do. And now we have a short week turning it around and going to play on Thursday night against South Alabama here at home. And so obviously got to get to work and try to get better.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. I know you said your team didn't particularly play well offensively. After you've had a chance to look at it, was it anything particular that you saw that maybe your team didn't perform as well as you had hoped going in, or do you just credit Coastal Carolina for doing some things defensively?
Well, I don't want to take anything away from Coastal because I do think they had a good plan. I thought their players played our offense very well. But I just probably the intensity, the speed in which we had been playing with on offense. We had a few guys doing it, but we didn't have enough guys. I would have liked to seen us play a lot better in that area. Anytime you don't perform well in one of your phases, you got to be able to obviously give credit to the opponent, but you've also got to question yourself of what can we do better, what can we do better as coaches, what can we do better as players, and so there's been a lot of self-reflecting and trying to figure out, where our problems are and how we can fix them. And we put a lot of time into that yesterday because it's hard to move on to the next game if you don't fix your problems. And so a lot of self-reflection, a lot of evaluation of staff and players, and hopefully I thought our guys came out really good last night with our practice, with good energy, and looking forward to getting another good practice in today and seeing if we can right the wrong.
Your defense played, like you said, played well except for a couple of mistakes. How hard is it to change from the defense you have to play against a team like Coastal to play a more, for lack of a better term, traditional type offense in South Alabama, especially in a short week?
Yeah, I think there's some challenges to that because obviously our offense is more option based, and so with our defense, lots of times when we're preparing for opponents that do things that's more traditional, you got to get your mind set on that. For a while there, we'd played several teams that are like that, and then we turn around and we play an option team in Coastal, and now we got to flip back to it. So I do think there's some challenges there, but I do think there's a lot of carryover that has come from the season and all that will help us this week.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep, no problem.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Yep, no problem. Thank y'all, GATA.
All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Blake Anderson, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Seems like it's been a while since we played. Thursday night games and Monday press conferences are a little different, but frustrated with how we played. Honestly, just did not play near our best in any phase, and against a team that's as well built and as disciplined as App is, you're going to get exposed, and we did. Felt like we just got out-coached and outplayed and out-executed, and honestly, just physically, they handled us on both fronts all day long, especially with our offensive line. We struggled, as it was easy to see, to protect, giving up 6 sacks, and really could not mount a run game that would put them in any kind of pressure all night, which mitigated probably our only really good matchup in our favor was our wideouts against their back end, and not being able to run the ball like we wanted, and then not being able to protect, really weren't able to be effective at throwing and catching like we wanted to, with the exception of just a few times all night. So very frustrating, but and eye-opening as well. It's just something we got to continue to. We got to try to build our team bigger and more physical. That's why we wanted to do our off season the way we planned last year, and kind of got taken away from COVID, and it showed up Thursday night, where we have to continually build our program more physical up front on both sides of the ball. And so we've got to regroup, and we've got to get back to work and find a way to win this week against a good Troy team coming in. We still control our destiny in the league if we can take care of our business on a weekly basis. But, Thursday night was frustrating on many, many levels. And just, one of those opportunities for you to look and just reevaluate everything that we're doing from top to bottom, trying to figure out how do we put a team on the field that can compete with that kind of team on a Thursday night. And so that's what we're doing. Love the guys' attitudes. We practiced yesterday, and we're going to keep working at it and try to improve this week and get a win. What questions do you have?
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Luke Matheson with Red Wolf Report. Please go ahead, Luke.
Hey, Coach, you kind of touched on what I was going to ask about. You love their attitudes yesterday. That was going to be my response is, after getting in, watching film, and breaking everything down, how has the response been from all aspects of the team?
Well, frustrated guys are down. Frustrated after the game. We hadn't seen those guys in a couple of years, and so went in, really feeling like that we would play more competitively, and then we didn't. Some of it was physical, some of it was execution. We had issues in both, but I thought the guys were really, really critical when we watched the tape on Friday, and they refreshed themselves. It kind of took a day off on Saturday and it came back with very good, very eager to work attitudes yesterday, and that's really all we can ask. I mean, address the issues that we can address now. Look forward to the issues that we can address in the off season and in the weight room and in recruiting, and come out with a great attitude to work. And there's still a ton ahead of us, a ton to play for, and plenty of opportunity. And I don't want our guys to let one game, take them out of that. And I thought they handled it perfectly yesterday.
There's been times you've been here at Arkansas State that you've had teams that's kind of been in this similar situation where you had a chance to bounce back and, as you say, control your own destiny. I know every team every year is a different team, but what have you learned from those other teams that have done that you can use to apply to this team?
Well, the ones that have struggled early, and we've had that with, a bunch of new bodies and getting to know each other. It's kind of the nature, unfortunately, of where we're at is that, we bring a lot of new guys in every year in the off season and expect those guys to step into what typically veteran roles would be with, guys that had grown up in a program for 4 or 5 years. So there's times that the learning curve is bad early and that guys start to come together. And what really has shown in the past when we've had success and started out 1-3 or 0-4 or whatever, and then been able to get on a run is accountability in the group and leadership starting to emerge, and guys not giving up on the process of daily improvement. And we're just not a program that is in a position to just take high school guys and grow them up 5 years at a time. We take some transfers and we bring guys in here and ask a lot of them early, and it takes sometimes longer for guys to grow up. But if they'll keep trying and keep working and keep improving, we'll be a much better team down the stretch than we've shown early, because we have some athletic ability. We lack some experience, and we really need some leaders to emerge. And you're starting to see it, albeit slower than we want, but you're starting to see it. We just can't get frustrated with the process. We have to be patient, and that is something that is very, very hard to do, both as a coach, as a player, and obviously as a fan, to be patient with the process. It just does not come easily. And with a team like App, as well as they're built with seniors across the board and veterans across the board, you get exposed when you don't play well. And we did not play well, and we looked bad on Thursday night, and that's the frustrating part.
Final question for you. Playing Troy Saturday at home, both teams obviously coming off of a loss. What's the challenges that they're going to present this week?
Well, they look different, man. They're going to spin the ball all over the field. That's what they want to do, and we saw that last year with a shootout at their place. So, it's different mindset than what we just saw in the sense that both Georgia State and App want to run the ball downhill at you. Not that Troy won't, but they are going to, they're going to match up differently and really spin the ball downfield. And we're going to have to cover in competitive areas. We're going to have to win in some one-on-one areas, and we're going to have to create pressure for the quarterback, something that we've struggled to do the last couple of weeks. And then offensively, we obviously can't go out and play like we played last Thursday night. To have 59 points against a good Georgia State team, and to only be able to muster up 17 and honestly squander 3 turnover opportunities that should have been turned into points. I mean, we got to rally around what we're able to do, what's possible, and execute. And we did not do that Thursday. I mean, we left points on the board on the field. Thursday with 3 turnovers when you consider those 2 that the defense created and then the onside kick. got 0 points out of those 3. And every opportunity we get this week, whether it be a turnover or a short field or whatever it may be, man, our offense has to get it in the end zone. So it ton of respect. We know everybody in our league looks alike, and we expect Troy to come in here playing great ball, and we're going to have to play better ball than we did to win.
Thank you, Luke, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Matt Viator, the head coach of ULM. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Another disappointing loss for us, and I did think we played better, and certainly, at least this game, we had our chances, no question, and just made too many mistakes, and I think, kind of starting it off with a 3-and-out, a really good drive, and then a 190 yard interception return for a touchdown, kind of got us behind, and had other scoring opportunities. We got down there and just continue to make too many mistakes. But so I did think that, we did play better, but still made, some of the same mistakes that we were making. And it's just going to be hard to win a football game like that. But give South Alabama credit. They hit some really big plays on us with their wideouts. And then the 11-minute or 12-minute drive that they had to start the fourth quarter was really impressive. The way they moved down the field and ran the clock and converted on 3rd down and a couple 4th downs was an impressive drive. So we host Appalachian State this week, and we obviously understand the challenges and that you get. I'm really impressed with their football team, and impressed with both sides of the ball in the kicking game. It's typical Appalachian State speed, really everywhere on offense, defense, and in special teams, and I think they're doing some really good things offensively. They have, looking at their stuff, they have 10 senior starters, which is impressive, especially in today's football, with the ability to transfer and stuff. So I think it starts with their O-line, and I've really been impressed with them. Not to take anything away, Zach Thomas is a great player, and Hennigan and those guys, but I'm just really impressed with their offensive line and how they kind of set the tone for everything. So anyway, we know it's a big challenge for us, and but we got another opportunity to play at home, and we'll certainly prepare to do our best.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Dan.
I know your team's desperately looking for something positive to really sort of kickstart things. You get a great drive going early in the game, and then, after a 3-and-out, then suddenly, it's going the other way on an interception return. How do you keep your team, going after, all of a sudden it looks like, maybe, here we go again?
I don't know, even after that, if you look at it, we certainly had chances, to do something with the game, and, we had missed an extra point, but 17-6 at the half, open the half, really, really impressive drive, get down there and, kind of stall a little bit. We missed a pass in the end zone, and but then miss a field goal. And, it wasn't the only opportunity we had. And, we were held on downs and down there again, in the second quarter and stuff. So, I'm just trying to look at the positives, and we moved the football better. Defensively, we, just gave up too many big plays. We gave up a couple home run shots, but in special teams, I thought we certainly did better than what we were doing. So got to learn from it and move on. But, it's frustrating, but, just keep practicing and, and keep moving forward, Dan.
Can you talk a little about the play of Colby, a quarterback? After the big interception return, it looked like, he sort of settled down a little bit and had a positive number-wise game for you.
Yeah, he's doing some good things, and we've been just inconsistent, as an offense and doing some stuff, but certainly not on, it's not all on him for sure. He's done some really good things this year, and I think in being here and this is his 3rd year and kind of understanding what's going on, but I've been impressed. He's hung in the pocket pretty good and made some throws. So all in all, I think, he's done some really good stuff. Obviously, that was certainly a downer to start the game like that, with an impressive drive, and then to see it go back, however long it went back. I know it was 90-something yards, almost 100 yards for a touchdown, but I do agree he did hang in there.
Is there one or two things he's done that have sort of said, that's the guy that we thought we were going to have there?
I think just his ability to, to stay in the pocket, and he's got a really live arm, I think, and it's from a mobility standpoint. I mean, he's obviously not what we've had with Caleb, but I mean I think his ability, which we thought he'd be able to do, and is to stay in the pocket. And I said, if you've watched him play, he's got a really live arm and can make all the throws that you want to make. We just have to become, he has to be a little bit more consistent, and we got to become a whole lot more consistent around him.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well. And we are now joined with Billy Napier, the head coach of Louisiana. If you have a question for Coach Napier, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Well, we're extremely excited about, kind of getting back to conference play this week against Texas State. I thought that this past Friday our team competed in the game. I think that it was probably some of the parts when offense, defense, special teams, all phases contributed. I credit our staff for making great halftime adjustments, and I think in general it was a special moment to honor Coach Looney. Really admire how our kids went about their business, and I think we all learned a little bit from that experience. So pretty special moment. But we'll turn the page. Certainly headed on the road this week, getting back into conference play, and look forward to the challenges that come with that. So with that, what questions do we have?
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. I know that honoring DJ was something that was basically for your team and for his family and so forth, but did you think it would have sort of the national impact that it's had? I mean, you see things about it really everywhere on national and social media.
Well, I think given doesn't surprise me. I think if you knew DJ Looney, you can understand the impact that he had on people. I certainly had an opportunity to work with DJ for about 2.5 years. I didn't know him before then, but I can tell you he was in the very fabric of what we've been able to do here. And I think in particular because of the type of person he was and the relationships that he had. So those types of relationships and that type of impact on people, I think has happened throughout DJ's life. So, DJ was raised by a great family. It certainly, doesn't surprise me a bit to see, that there's lots of interest in this story. But I think with the kids and the way they went about it, I thought it was a great gesture for them to wear their last name on the back of their jersey. And not only that, but also to play with the competitive spirit and the resolve and to handle the adversity in the game and to find a way to win the game, I thought was really significant. So doesn't surprise me. And I think if you knew DJ Looney, you would understand that.
What did you see in your offense in the second half going against a really good defensive team that UAB had?
Well, I think we made good adjustments. We picked from a little bit different menu of runs. I think we threw the ball around a little bit more. And I think we just executed better. We moved the ball in the first half. We just had 2 fourth down stops. We had a penalty that caused us to punt the football. So I think in general we executed at a better rate, and the staff did a really good job of making adjustments. We executed better. I think they are a good team. Defensively in particular, I think their personnel is really good, and I think they've got an identity. Overall, we just coached better and executed better.
Texas State sort of threw the kitchen sink out there last week against BYU. Do you anticipate seeing some of the different type things that they did again this week?
Well, I don't know. I think we've got to prepare for it all. And I think this is a really good coaching staff in all three phases. I think they've got a really good understanding of what's happening. I think they're obviously, well respected out there in terms of their pedigree, where they've worked and what they've been able to accomplish. They're in the process of building a program. I can see improvement. There's no question. This is not a year where I think you can base anything on what's happened in the past, right? In terms of player availability, you don't know who was at practice, who was available. You can't compare scores. You can't compare yards. You got to show up and play your best football every week. So, I think more than any year I've been a part of coaching, I think you got to be prepared to compete and play your best every week, and this week will be no different.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Dan. Our next questions come from Tim Buckley with The Advertiser. Please go ahead, Tim.
Morning, Coach. Hey, what more can you tell us about wrist surgery for TJ Wisham, and what sort of impact that might have on your special teams? Because I know obviously he's a big contributor there.
Well, what exactly was the question?
What more can you tell us about TJ's wrist surgery and what sort of impact his loss will have on your special teams?
Well, TJ got injured in the game Saturday. He has a wrist injury. He'll be out for a while, and we'll evaluate, his situation based off the surgery. Whether or not he'll be able to return in some form or fashion will be declared once we, the doctor kind of gets a look at it, from a surgical standpoint. So until then, it's to be determined. But I think we all know that TJ was a starter on all four special teams. Some would consider him a leader. From a game-changer perspective, he was a guy that did a great job of leading, taking ownership in that area. We're going to need some players to step up to fill that void. But, I think in general, TJ's always done a really good job for us, and not only a heck of a player, but a great leader and a great example to the other players.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. You as well. If everyone stand by, we'll have Chip Lindsey of Troy on here shortly. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Thank you for being here. Obviously, tough loss for us on Saturday. Really proud of the way our guys fought. Had some turnovers that I think really were probably the difference in the game. Lost our starting quarterback in the first quarter, but I'm really proud Jacob Free the way he came in and then really picked up and actually played pretty well except for 2 or 3 throws. Was really pleased with the way our team responded to a challenge this week. Last year, we weren't near as physical as we needed to be in that game against Georgia State, and that was an emphasis, and I thought our team rose to the challenge on that. Defensively, I thought we played pretty well, really. We, had 2 touchdowns by the defense, as well as another turnover. We had several opportunities because our defense gave us the football and actually scored, so really pleased with how they played. And really, to be honest, I think the difference in the game were the turnovers and turning the ball over in the red zone and not missing those opportunities. Special teams wise, I thought we covered well. Really pleased with that. We just, when we get a chance to make a short field goal, we got to make it. So obviously getting beat by 2 points, all those things seem to show up, and those are things that we got to get corrected. I think we're very, very close to finishing some of these games. We got a good football team. We just got to keep working and try to improve in those areas. But it doesn't get any easier. Turn around this week and go to Arkansas State, who's got a good football team, and we know that we got our work cut out for us on the road in conference as always. But we're looking forward to that challenge and going to get started with a good week of practice. Questions?
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Scott Watkins. Scott, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Do you guys have
Scott.
any update on Gunnar Watson?
I don't yet. I know he's pretty sore and all that. I think probably by the middle of the week we'll know whether he's going to have a shot to play yet or not. I think there's still a lot to be determined. We do have an off day today, and I know he's going to be reevaluated again, and we'll see how it plays out.
And secondly, I really just wanted to know if there were any plays from the Georgia State game that you guys may have submitted into the conference for review and try to get an explanation on.
I probably don't need to comment on that. I just think there were some things in that game, obviously, that were some critical plays in that game for sure. But I think we have a procedure in place for our conference to do those things, and some games we will, some games we won't. And sometimes when you look at the film, you don't see it like you thought you saw it live. So I think that shows up some too. But we got procedures in place to do it, and we'll follow those each week when we need to.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Our next questions come from Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask you about how you saw the defense perform this week and with your interception return touchdowns, and what do you want to see more from the defense in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. And we created 2 big-time turnovers that turned into touchdowns with Shaquille as well as Reddy Stewart. So that's big time. When we can start doing that and then, obviously scoring's even a bonus for that. I think that makes that's going to make things a lot better for us. I think that side of the ball has really grown tremendously. They continue to improve. We're contesting most every throw now and not giving up big plays. I think we got a lot of guys that are growing up, maturing, and I think the bottom line is these guys are just executing better than we did for sure last year, and hopefully we'll continue to improve in those areas. I think other than about a 15 plays probably in the third quarter that we'd be really, really pleased with their performance. But again, we got to take advantage of the turnovers when we get them on offense, and we didn't seem to do that the other night. It caught up with us in the end.
And having Jacob come in for the injured quarterback, how do you see him perform, and how do you see him step up and with all the adversity going on with Gunnar? Yeah,
I was really excited about him. He came in, was calm and cool, very composed. He had a look in his eye like he was excited, not nervous or intimidated or anything like that. He hasn't played really in 2 years, if you think about it, other than some mop-up duty in our first game. So for him, it was his first action really in almost 2 calendar years. So I thought he handled it very well. Our team believes in him. If Gunnar's not able to go, I think Jacob will still bring a whole lot to the table, and he can run our offense for sure. And look really excited about the way he responded, and I think that says a lot about him and being prepared to play no matter what happens.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and we are now joined with Shawn Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Sure. Good afternoon. Exciting week for us, coming off of a victory down at Troy. It's our first, actually, it's our first road win, first win at down in Troy for our football program right there, and the first time we ever won back-to-back games against those guys. So, it was good. We showed a lot of poise there, coming back there in the second half and having a really, really good third quarter, and held on long enough to get that win. It was an exciting contest, came right down to the last kick, and, we've come to expect that here. We played basically, I guess, 3 of the 4 of our ball games really, really tight. That have all come down to the end. So that's kind of what we expect this week. Got a really good Coastal Carolina group coming in here. Coach Chadwell and his staff do a wonderful job. They've got a really good football team. I think they've I know when you look at them, they've got a creative scheme on the offensive side of the ball. And if you look at them defensively, I think that they're one of the best in our league, especially the fronts, that they match up well with everyone. They've got a lot of athleticism, and it's going to be an exciting contest. I think they're ranked 20th coming in here to our place Saturday at 12 o'clock. So we have got a big, tall task at hand with Coastal Carolina.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. You were faced with having to replace a 3-year starter in Dan Ellington, and you went with a redshirt freshman in Cornelius Brown. Just what are your thoughts on his performance this year and how he's led the team?
Yeah, he goes by Quad, and he's done a good job to be a redshirt freshman. Some of the decisions in this past game were a little bit uncharacteristic of him, trying to force the issue. But we've been very pleased, I think, running our offense. He's got a real confidence about him that we feel comfortable with. He's knowledgeable, and he has the athleticism both in the throwing game and the running game that we like. So we think he's on track, but he still has a lot to improve on.
All right, Coach. You mentioned, what you were impressed with Coastal this year. I guess just how much more cachet does a win over a team that has a ranked number next to it bring, and what can that do for your program to knock off a team that's ranked?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's Coastal Carolina and it's a conference game, so that in itself is really big for us. I mean, them bringing in I think they're number 21 in one poll and 20 in the other. That's just icing on the cake that they're ranked, and more power to them because they're certainly deserving of it. They've got a good football program, and like I said, they're one of, I think, 11 undefeated teams in the country at this time. So we've got to go out and play our best. I mean, we certainly do. But like I said, it's Coastal Carolina. They're in the Eastern Division with us in our conference, and so that makes it a big game.
All right, Coach. Lastly, Coastal's had a lot of fun in their locker room after their wins. They've had a WWE type celebration after this past one. Has that rubbed anybody wrong in the conference or bothered anybody as much as they celebrate their victories?
To tell you the truth, I don't really know what you're talking about. So
okay. Yeah, just on social media, they've had a lot of they've gotten a lot of traction with their celebrations. They've been on SportsCenter a couple weeks in a row, and so yeah, they've gotten a lot of notoriety based on how they've celebrated their victories.
Oh well, I mean, the only thing I can do as a football coach is try not to get them to celebrate in our locker room. So, more power to them. Listen, I want you to understand. Yeah, winning's hard, and whenever you win, you should really enjoy it. I mean, you got to move on quickly. So, however they celebrate it, like I said, they get the win. Man, let them go have a great time with it.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Alan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.